guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing my August mid-month wrap-up. In the first half of August, I read 9 books in total, one of them being an entire series. So let's talk about it, because I read literally the first book and then I proceeded to read the whole series, which is 7 books. So first book is Artek. This is part of the 7 Brides for the 7 Alien Brothers series. So we have our first book, Artek. That is the name of our hero. Each novella is named after the hero. These brothers, quote unquote brothers, they're not really related, but they are kind of a band of brothers. They went to war together, and after the war was over, they bought this ranch on this planet, and this ranch on this planet was bought by a human who kind of wanted to bring back the old times. So think like historical romance, how they dress, their acts and practices and all of that. And all 7 of the brothers, they actually end up renovating their home. They have a lot of land, they have houses, each of them have their own place, but they all kind of coexist with each other and help each other out. And after they have kind of set up most of this ranch, Artek believes that he wants a wife, and that will further enrich the ranch and make their home more of a home. So Artek goes into town to talk to Nellie, and now Nellie is a human woman. She is actually the daughter of the owner of this shop, can get goods and services. And Artek and another one of his brothers that has a later book, they go into the shop. So they've already known each other, seen each other, found each other attractive, and Artek then says, okay, I need a bride, and Nellie is it, because he feels this connection towards her. So it's giving very much arranged marriage for this one. I will give you guys the main trope for each of the 7 novellas, just because I feel like it'll be easier. They're all kind of the same, so I'm gonna give you the tropes, that way you guys can like pick and choose which ones you guys want to read, because they are interconnected standalones. You don't have to read them in order. That's just how I read them. So yeah, Artek and Nellie end up getting this arranged marriage, and Artek takes her home. That's where she sees the ranch for the first time, like the actual ranch house. She sees how run down it is, and Artek proceeds to say something about cooking and like cleaning, and she's like, oh, so this is why you wanted me as a wife. She gets hurt. It's all of that, but he like grovels, and he's like, that's not why I wanted you. And it's steamy. These are steamy novellas, and yeah, they just kind of get their happily ever after. And this main book, I feel like, was an introduction to the rest of the series. You get to see little snippets of each brother. So for the first book, I gave 3.5 stars, and I rounded it up to a 4-star. I really enjoyed it. Going back, Artek is like a blue alien, as you guys can see on the cover. All the heroes and the heroines are on the covers. I don't know what exact species he is, but he is the commander of the brothers, as he was in war. Is just kind of stuck. Artek is the one that a lot of the other brothers look up to. So yeah, I really loved the first introduction of the book, and getting to know all of the brothers. I dove right into the other ones because I wanted to see their romances and see their HEAs. Moving on to book 2, this is Benjar's book. As you can see on the cover, he is a pink lion-esque alien, and his romance is with Ruby. So we get to meet Nellie's technically best friend, Pearl, and Pearl has a younger sister named Ruby, and Ruby is put out to seem very adventurous and kind of out of the box. I knew immediately that she would be Benjar's mate, because Benjar is your very much golden retriever character. He is the fun one in the brothers. He's the mischievous one out of the brothers, and this is where it gets repetitive in the rest of the books. So Benjar comes up with this plan because he heard Nellie, the heroine from the first book, tell this story where a bunch of soldiers went into town while the women were happy and joyous in a party, and they each stole a bride and they took him home. That's how they found their brides, their mates. And so Benjar takes this literally, and him and a couple of his other brothers go into town while they're having like this harvest festival. Benjar and some of his other brothers proceed to steal women. So first off, Benjar steals multiple women for the brothers that don't join him on his quest. He steals an infamous cook. She's really good at cooking, and he thinks that that's his mate because she knows how to cook, and he wants a bride that knows how to cook. But he sees Ruby in passing, and he can't stop thinking about her. So he goes back for Ruby because he's like, oh, I'm gonna take her and give her to one of my brothers, but he ends up keeping her for himself. So after all of these brothers take their own women and Benjar takes a couple extra women for the other brothers. They go over this pass back to the ranch, and one of the brothers is really good with bombs, so he sets off a bomb that then causes an avalanche, which then causes the pass between Big Ranch and the town to be closed off, so none of the men from the town will go for the brides. In Benjar and Ruby's case, Ruby wakes up and she's like, absolutely not, like what the hell, like this isn't real, this is not how you get like a mate or whatever. But since they're stuck together, snowed in, so if you like that forced proximity, definitely all of these novellas are for you. This is just the romance in this novella. It was very sweet. If you like golden retriever heroes, funny mischievous heroes, Benjar is the one for you. I gave Benjar 3.5 stars, rounded it down to a 3. Then moving on to the third book, this one was about Callum. So because Ruby gets stolen by Benjar, Pearl is absolutely out of her mind, worried, and she ends up traveling through the snow, and Callum is actually on his way to check on the other brothers because he's like, I can't believe they went out to go steal human women. Callum and Pearl had already previously met at Nellie's wedding, and they had this connection, but they kind of have their own past. Each of them have a past, so it was kind of iffy for them, but they run into each other while Pearl is on her way to save her sister and Callum is on his way to stop his brothers. So they meet up, but they end up getting snowed in, of course, and they kind of build a relationship from there. So this one is definitely older couple. They are both older heroine, older hero. This hero is a purple alien with massive horns, and you can tell they're like on the older side by the cover of the book. But I really love this one because our heroine has a past marriage that was very abusive physically, emotionally, mentally, and I love the way that Callum had to be like super gentle with Pearl. They obviously have this connection, and I know that Callum had a previous relationship that didn't work out, so he was kind of heartbroken because of that, so they kind of heal each other together, and I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. Then we have the next brother, Drakar. I believe this is the 4th book. I believe Drakar is the one with the wings, but basically Drakar is one of the brothers who goes with Benji and he steals his own mate, and he actually is very iffy about stealing a human woman. He doesn't want to, so he stays perched up on the building, and he's just kind of watching over his brothers to make sure like that they're safe and like whatever they can accomplish their mission. When he looks up and he sees through a window this beautiful woman, her name is Kitty, and she is on this balcony. He can't stop staring at her, and he's very interested in her until he sees that Kitty's husband comes home and he's like mistreating her, and Drakar puts an end to it and he decides to take her as his. But what he doesn't know, what he finds out, is that Kitty is a single mom. So there is a newborn baby, I believe, with them. Maybe not newborn, but like a pretty young baby. So this is definitely single parent trope, so if you guys like that, that is definitely the one for you. I really enjoyed it just because I love seeing an alien hero be kind and gentle, not only with Kitty because she does have traumatic past, but also seeing him be a fatherly figure to the baby. And I thought it was really sweet, and I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. On to the 5th book. This one's about Endark. I believe Endark is half human and half Volter. They are a gray alien species. This one, Endark sees her in town and he chooses her because he feels a connection with her, so he steals her. They are snowed in, but what he doesn't take into account is that our heroine Becky, she has a younger brother that she takes care of. They've really been struggling. They are kind of the servants to this other family, and he promises her to go back and get him through the storm, but we later find out that the little brother actually ended up seeing his sister get stolen, but he couldn't really do anything, so he kind of snuck in and was kind of following them until he couldn't in the snow. I really enjoyed this one because we get to see like this found family dynamic. I like how Endark becomes a fatherly figure to the younger brother, and I thought this one was very sweet as well. I ended up giving it 4 stars, so I must have really loved it, but now that I'm talking about it, it seems kind of a simple one, kind of giving single parent trope as well. A lot of caretaking, forced proximity. Volter does struggle with his like more animalistic instincts. Even though he is half human, he is half Volter, and they are known to be like a violent species. And yeah, they just have their HEA, fated mates. I really loved it. I gave it 4 stars. Moving on to the 6th book. I think the reason why I was binging the series is because I really wanted to get to this one, because this is Frantor. This is a scarred hero romance. My leg literally fell asleep. Girl. But I really wanted to get a Frantor story because we don't get to see Frantor at all. But because I said Benjar steals a couple extra human women and he ends up leaving Frantor with the cook that he first took that he thought was going to be for himself. And Frantor doesn't know this and he stays hidden throughout all of the previous books because he is scarred and he doesn't like to be seen or touched, etc. And honestly, I eat that up. Like, I love a scarred hero. I love an insecure hero. And I love seeing that build up of their relationship. I loved seeing how our heroine Flory takes care of him by feeding him, by giving him space and kind of taking care of him, providing him comfort. Frantor does end up putting on a mask so he can further spend more time with Flory. He's very interested in her. He's shy and he doesn't want her to see him and be scared of him. And I just overall loved it. Like, it was super sweet and I loved Frantor. Like, he is just such a cinnamon roll and he deserves all the love in the world. And I gave this one 4.5 stars because I really loved it. I believe it's my favorite out of the entire series. I am just a simp for scarred heroes. I just am. And then last book in the 7 husbands for 7 wives for you know what I mean. Last book in this alien series is Gilman. We don't get to know a lot about Gilman, but Benjar does steal another human woman for him. Benjar just ends up kind of dropping off our heroine Julie on his front porch and he's like, here you go, take care of her. And he's just like stunned by it. He is a magical plant alien. As you can see on the cover, he's green. He has kind of longish hair, but it's like plants and they're kind of alive. Like, they kind of do what he says and then like kind of swirl and like curl around the heroine, which I found so cute. We have our heroine. She comes from the family that has the servants Becky from a previous story, and her mother is very ew and is always forcing Julie to go out to these balls and stuff, that she needs to get married. And she's never wanted to get married. She's very much a plant girly herself. She has her own garden. She likes to be in the dirt and she likes to read her books and just be on her own. She's that kind of heroine. So because she's dropped off at Gilman's, they are snowed in. Gilman is insecure about his plant power ability because he believes that it never developed. But once he has Julie is super intrigued by him just because of the way that he looks, and he lives literally in a greenhouse and it's absolutely magical with all like olive plants. Like, honestly, if I had to choose whose home to live in, it'd probably be Gilman's. They just kind of form this instant connection and they thrive on each other. Gilman plants thrive with Julie. Like, Julie causes him to like react and his powers to strengthen. So that was really fun to see. This one had some good smutty scenes. I really enjoyed it. I gave Gilman 4 stars. I really loved it. So that was the last book in that alien series. I highly enjoyed it. If any of the tropes speak to you, I think you should really enjoy it. Otherwise, just read it from the beginning and make your way through it. They were fun reads. I feel like these are reads that you can pick up whenever maybe you're in a slump or want something different to cleanse your palate. They're just overall cute, sweet alien romances. And then next up, I ended up reading Glitch. So this one was recommended to me by Lacey from Lacey Book Lovers. I feel like that's wrong, but I also feel like that's correct. But yeah, she was raving about this one and it just sounded really good. So we have our hero Glitch. He has another name. We find out that name in the book, but I can't tell you. I can't tell you what his real name is, but his name is Glitch. He is actually a audiobook narrator, or like he makes spicy narrations because his voice has always been different. It's something that has always stood out to him and to other people. He's been made fun of it. He's been fetishized for it. Also plays video games, and he plays video games with like 2 other guys and this one girl, and that one girl is Ara. Ara and Glitch have never really kind of taken the steps to be anything more than friends. They do have their own separate chat, which they both keep open, and they both wish for them to like make the first move, I guess you could say. So there's a lot of pining in this. This book is smutty. Okay, there is pages and pages of smut. If you want something like heavy smut, really no plot, this is the one for you. Ara has been in a toxic relationship and an on and off for a while until she is officially single. She ends up breaking her laptop somehow, which you later find out how. And Glitch actually owns a gaming store where he also fixes computers and electronics and stuff. And this is their finally like their excuse to meet. They instantly like insta love, really. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. It didn't hit the way that I thought it was going to. I liked the premise. I thought Glitch was absolutely hot. I loved the mouth on that man. Like, insane. The narration, like everything was so good. The smut, top level. But like the overall relationship, I didn't feel it. Like in here, you know, like in my heart, I didn't feel it. I wish I would have loved it a little bit more, but I think if you're looking for an overall spicy book, then Glitch is the one for you. It was very entertaining. There are other books in the series, which I think I will be continuing the series just because the smut in these books, girl, I might have to. Hopefully I connect with the relationships in the other books a little bit more. Did I do a good job in explaining that one? Like, I don't want to spoil anything. Yeah. Ara's a painter. There's a sexy paint scene. He gets tattoos representing her. It was just, honestly, it was overall good. Like, I kind of want to reread it just for the smutty scenes, but like there were so many, like I can't pinpoint each one, you know, but they were hot. They were really good. And then last book I will be talking about is Chef's Kiss by Cassie Mint. This is another one in her recent drops that she has had. We have a chef hero and we have our heroine. I can't remember their names. Our heroine writes to this online column article thing. She was at this bar with her brother. She was reading it on her phone and her brother takes her phone, sees it, reads it, and he doesn't realize that he's outing his sister while he's reading it. She's like mortified, but he doesn't stop reading it until he like realizes that she wrote it. And she wrote it about her sexy older neighbor that she has had a massive crush on for the longest time. Our sexy chef hero neighbor realizes it as well. He's like, oh my god, like I can't believe she's like likes me, like I didn't know that it was this deep. He's kind of taken aback by it, so the hero kind of rejects the heroine because he still thinks that the heroine is too young for him. But then the little twist that I really liked was that our heroine realizes how much the hero wants her and she starts taunting him until they kind of finally give in and they have their smutty good old time, and then they eventually get their HEA. Yeah, I gave it 3 stars. It was really good for what it was, so if you're looking for a age gap neighbor romance, this one's the one to check out. So those were all the books that I read for the first half of August. Let me know down below in the comments if you've read any of these before, and if you guys don't want to comment any of that, then go ahead and comment some plant emojis down below in the comments for Gilman, the last book in the 7 Brides for 7 Alien series. I will never get that name right. But again, I thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.